And it's Northside Game Night, and we're here at Jersey Mike's Western Glory. Outstanding guests. We got in with Dave, along with Kathy and Vince and myself. We've got Coach Marshburn from coming off the big win in Raleigh, right there in Reynolds Coliseum, state 2A champions. You know, we have seen the reaction, you know, on social media. But one of the things that you were talking about earlier, talking about the team getting ready and going through this whole season without being defeated, two things come out, and that is discipline and character. And that's what I think David was really demonstrated by the Monarch team this year.
You know, I tell you what, as Coach is going to talk to us here a little bit about his phone and all the messages he's been getting, you know, just on social media, I posted about the Monarchs winning, and there's people that are up in Pennsylvania that I went to school with that are saying, hey, tell them congratulations, because they know how rare it is to be able to get to the state championship undefeated and to win it. Actually, 1-3 were the odds this year, as we talked about a little bit ago. So it was an awesome feeling and an awesome experience. Jim, you and I have been it's been an honor to be able to call Northside Sports this year. We've learned so much about the sports program. And not only that, we've learned about the parents of the athletes as well. There's not an athlete, I think, that we've talked to that does not say sir, or does not say ma'am, or does not hold the door for you. That's why I'm very proud to be a parent of a Northside Monarch student, and all my kids are going to be going to Northside. So pretty excited about that. I'm also pretty excited, Jim, that we can call the Monarchs not just the Monarchs, we can call them the state champion Monarchs.
That's right.
The king is really on the throne. And tell you what, if you go to WAVQradio.com, check out the Cuden newsletter. There is a story on the Monarchs team this year. You do not want to miss that. Enough about us. We've got a special guest tonight. We are definitely honored to have Coach Marshburn of the, I can say this now,
That's right,
undefeated state champion Monarchs with us. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the game. Thought going in, Mason Hawks and Carter Phillips were going to be the two players I think that you knew coming in, especially with Carter Phillips in the paint, with Mason Hawks with his three-point abilities. I really think you guys did a good job of shutting them down. And a stat that I just noticed today, only 4 of their starters attempted a shot the whole game, whereas the Monarchs had a plethora of players, 5 of them actually, that were in double digits, not counting the help from the bench.
Yeah, well, we were very aware of number 3, Mason Hawks, and number 4, Carter Phillips. And we were also very aware of number 10, Kendall Tucker. And also Hull. Hull was averaging in double figures. He was their number 12. He was their post player, lefty. But, you know, we were very concerned about all of them, but most importantly, number 3 and number 4. You know, we had some game film on them and knew they were very talented, very skilled. And we felt like number 3 was their engine. So we were going to try to, you know, slow down that engine as much as we could without getting in foul trouble. You know, and I signed Zach Hobbs to number 3. And what Zach does a great job of is extending pressure. And I noticed some of the teams they played this year in game film, most teams picked up around the 3-point line. So I felt like there was time for you know, North Surrey to set up plays and all that without any you know, pressure being applied. Well, our game plan this year is really to, you know, have court pressure. And not so much full court, not so much 3/4 court, but half court pressure, because I felt like that was what we were best at. And anyway, our game plan was to pick up Mason at half court and go ahead and start applying some pressure. And we were able to give some support underneath in the paint with Demetrius Jones and a few others. We weren't going to come off of Tucker because he's a very good spot-up shooter. And of course, you know, we had to be very aware of Carter. You know, I think he was the district player of the year. I think District 11 player of the year. Excuse me, and as well as the conference player of the year. So, you know, we were very aware of his talents. But you know, we felt like just by noticing on tape, and it's not taking anything away from them, that, you know, we felt like they did some one-on-one stuff, not you know, and it's kind of like they fed off of what Mason did or what Carter did, and we just felt like that, hey, you know, we're gonna stick to our game plan. We're gonna play you straight up man-to-man trap at times. Maybe if they turn their back, maybe just go after a ball from behind. We had talked about several things, but our game plan mostly this year was just straight man-to-man. We sprinkle in a little bit of zone. I didn't have any plans really on Saturday to go zone because of they had three very good three-point shooters. You figured those three I mentioned, Tucker, Hawks, and Phillips, they had hit, each of those three had hit over 63s this year. So that tells you right there that, number one, they can shoot the three ball. I just felt like our pressure game, if we stuck with it, would eventually take its toll on them, which, late in the game is when we extended our lead. And I just felt like our pressure finally got to them. In the same breath, you'd mentioned about us having 5 kids in double figures. I thought that was one of our strengths this year, was our ability to share the basketball. Even though Zach Hobbs was our leading scorer, we had other guys that could score. And to give you a prime example was actually the first half. At halftime, when I got the stat sheet that you're looking at right now, and I saw Zach had 3 points and Kenny had 2, and we're up by 10, I felt pretty good. I said, Zach's only scored 3, Kenny scored 2, and we got a 10-point lead. And they put so much attention on Zach, and you probably saw it when they would have one guy guarding Zach, but they'd have help underneath. So if he got by the first guy, there was always that second guy. And I told Zach at halftime, I said, I need you to score more. I said, you only have, you've only made 2 baskets. I said, here's, I gave him the game plan for the second. I said, Zach, your strength all year has been attacking the rim. And I said, you have to get going towards the rim. And it's not like we took a ton of 3-point shots. We were 4 of 8 for the game. They were 3 of 12. But I just felt like that we were taking a lot of jump shots and not so much attacking the rim off the dribble and getting there. So our game plan in the second half obviously was to get Zach more touches and him attacking, and I told Kenny Dye pretty much the same thing. So we ran a few different sets in the second half to get that attack going. We ran some backdoor plays, which, we were doing things up top, so we ran a couple backdoor plays to kind of make them play honest. Okay, if you're going to overplay us on the wing in a 1-4 set, we're going to run a backdoor play. But we've had balanced scoring all year. I'd look at the scorebook after a game a lot of times this year, and 10, 11, 12 guys have scored, and that's great balance.
Yeah, it seemed to be, to us, the key all year was the play of the bench and just the distributing of the basketball. If the defense isolated one man, you had a lot of other basketball players that could shoot the ball. I do want to talk to you about one of the most underrated parts of your basketball team this year was the defense. It really felt like your defense forced a lot of transition baskets and as broadcasters, we were able to see just how good your defense was. The stat sheet doesn't show you all the time how good the defense is, because a lot of points can be scored in the fourth quarter when you're in your third string guys, if you will, that are coming in. I really thought the defense was the key this year to your championship season, and I felt your bench, I felt like your bottom 5 guys could have started almost any school in North Carolina.
Yeah, I tell you what, we were, I've always preached that offense will win you games, but defense will win you championships. And, this group bought into that. It was something they believed. It was something they practiced, something they took pride in. I've stated it year in and year out. Defense win championships, and not every group has bought into it, but this group did. And if you attended and watched any of our practices, you would see probably the first 30 to 45 minutes of our practices is working on defensive drills. One of my assistant coaches, Scott Barton, did an incredible job this year with drills and getting the team ready for defense. Coach Hobbs, Al Hobbs, and Patrick Clark as well. But we just spent a lot of time working on defensive concepts, defensive principles. Our defense is based on principles, where the ball's at, where your man's at, things like that. But it took a group like this year's group to really buy into defense. Now, one of the stats that stood out for me And apparently it stood out for the other coach because he mentioned in a newspaper article was the fact that we were only giving up 45 points a game. Now, if you'd have told me in the regional finals we were going to hold Green Central to 47 points, I'd have probably betted you. I mean, I knew our defense was good, but that night it was great. And I mean, I look at Clinton. We outscored Clinton 44-22 in the second half. We're down 3 at halftime, 29-26. And I look at Fairmont, and I don't remember what the final score there was, but our defense held them in check. Same thing with Goldsboro. Goldsboro came in with a great reputation and the ability to score. In fact, I thought all 5 teams we played before the championship game came in averaging, a lot of points. Clinton came in averaging about 74. I looked at actually North Surrey, I think, was averaging right around 80, but I think in the playoffs they were averaging around 86, and we held them to 67. So you're right. I mean, I think our defense was underrated, but I think that was our edge this year because especially when you have a good defensive team. I used to tell my guys, I said, our best offense is our defense because if we can get stops and get in transition as fast and quick as we are, then we're going to be hard to stop. And I think you saw that in the fourth quarter the other night. I think Coach King elected to go pressure, full court pressure in the 2-2-1 press, and we were ready for it. And I just felt like that, guys, we worked on it in practice for 2 or 3 days. I said, hey, if we can get the ball centered and the wings can feel, we're going to get layups at the opposite end. And that's what happened. I mean, we worked on this and saw the opening, but you're right. Defense, so proud of the guys for putting in the effort to work hard on defense. And the result, they're state champs.